Yeah, U3, live from the underground.
Yo, it's your girl DJ Baby Blue Diamond, and you tune in to U3 Underground Unsigned and Unknown. And we have a special guest tonight, Frank Campos of Wavez Movement. What up? What up?
So thank you for having me again.
You welcome. You welcome. Well, let's talk about how you get started with Wavez Movement. How'd you come up with the concept and everything?
Yeah, of course. So it started off with three co-founders when the Waves first started. It was just a blog that we wanted to make into targeting just artists that we felt like in San Antonio that didn't get a lot of, just either any kind of like support or any just kind of, later like just anything written about them. I didn't see a lot of it like in like San Antonio Current. I didn't see a lot of it like in like magazines and things like that. And I've always wanted to just give my personal opinion on what I felt about the songs. And somehow from there, like everything started picking up pretty fast for us. We started doing shows, we started doing merch, and then from there, everything started just moving fast. So we started losing members, adding members, and we have a solid team right now currently with two of the co-founders still part of it, myself and then my videographer, David. And we're right now just kicking strong with just the team we have.
I know right now mostly you're doing blog sites, or you have a blog site. Are we going to get a podcast from you pretty soon or anything like that?
We actually did have a podcast rolling. We had two of them. We had one called High Tide Radio, where we interviewed artists like during like festivals and shows. And then we had one that was happening right before coronavirus. It was called the Low Tide Podcast, and we only got to do 5 episodes at Glue Studios. Those are presentable on our site right now, but once everything starts slowing down, we definitely will start picking that back up.
Okay, I like that. So is the first one the one you said, the one where you're interviewing artists at shows? That's going to pick it back up too when COVID opens too?
I definitely want to bring that one back because we used to just play just artists' music either from the week that we heard, and then in between it was just us talking, just us conversating with artists, and then it go back into like if an artist just recently dropped a project, dropped a single, we play it, and then we just let it off like the rest of it, just spinning different songs.
What do you feel is missing from the San Antonio scene? Music.
I actually right now like musically everything is pretty much picking up pretty fast for everybody.
Yeah.
Like the pandemic didn't really slow anything down except shows.
Exactly.
But as far as musically, I see artists doing huge things. I mean, Hoodlum got signed during the pandemic. That's pretty crazy to me.
I know, right? It's a good thing.
Yeah, Frito Gang, who's a collective out here in San Antonio, they're actually performing SOBs in New York. Pretty crazy as well. So I mean, musically, it hasn't really stopped. Only thing is that I would say that definitely needs to come together is just artists. One artist is making success, another artist is going to hate from afar because they're not seeing that success. If we're able just to come together and say, look, right now is your time, my time is going to come eventually. Let me just help support this, and I hope when I get to that place, you're going to be supporting me the same way. That's really all that needs to come together with these artists.
I agree with that 100%. What can other blog sites that do what you do help to support artists and get artists out there besides post their music?
One thing that I enjoy is writing what I personally feel about that song or about a project. You don't get too much of that. Anybody can just go out there and post about a song, about a video, but you want to know what took over that song for me. Like, was the beat? Was it the lyrics? I love breaking down all of that information, especially when an artist can come back and say, "Yo, I think anybody caught that. That's pretty cool that you were able to hear that in my music. That's definitely what my delivery was in this track. This is what my delivery was in this song. This video is what I was going for." I've got 2 points to where artists are like, wow, he was like, I wasn't even thinking that, but because you even said that, like that makes the video go so much better, the song so much even better.
Have you
So, I
ever
mean,
came across an artist who didn't like your review?
oh yeah, I came across plenty of times. Um, doesn't affect me at all. Like if it's something they didn't like, I mean, like, well, that's my personal opinion. You know, if you don't like it, you know, as it's my blog at the end of the day. I was like, you know, I'll continue doing my personal opinion on you. If you don't want to know more, then that's cool. I can save time for not writing about your music. But at the end of the day, you know, it's what I want to write about. It's what I want to talk about. And I'll go the extra mile if I have to and just saying, you know what, this is why I didn't like it. This is what you could be worked on. And if they don't like that kind of, you know, criticism, then it's for the birds from there.
What are your thoughts on the list that's been surfacing around San Antonio? You know, like the top list and the rack list and all the other lists that they have out here.
I despise lists. First of all, like I can't stand them. They put in conversations that don't need to be said. I feel like if we have the ability to start, you know, unifying everyone, they have the options to start, you know, then, you know, taking all of that work and then just starting to spread out everyone again.
Yeah.
You know, or if I don't think I've ever seen a list happen where somebody's had something positive to say about it. Say, you know what, those artists deserve it. You know, I hope, you know, I'm on that list one day. There's not too much of that. There's always so much of, you know, that artist don't deserve it. He goes, I'm over here making records. I'm over here making these numbers. Like, you know, your time's coming. You know, you just gotta, you know, keep striving. You know, just keep pushing forward. Don't take any of that like to a loss.
Are there any artists, any new artists that you recently heard that you feel like we should know about?
There, I go through plenty of music, to be
I
quite
bet.
honest. There are some artists that so earlier this year, some of my team members, Kevin Carter and Shades, who I added them to the Waves last year. They are like by far like the dopest people out here in San Antonio. And what they'll do is they'll have me, you know, branch out, just not in Texas. When we started the Waves, my main thing was I was always going to target San Antonio artists and Texas artists. And once I started getting there, I was like, you know what, the blog scene definitely can be, you know, spread out a little bit more. I'm gonna start, you know, tackling all these other artists out. There's an artist right now I like. His name is Al Doms. Super, you know, underrated artist, but he's getting numbers and plays like outside of out of Texas, and he's even from here, but like he's getting a lot of plays that I've been noticing. And when we talk, people in San Antonio that I think they don't get a lot of, you know, appreciation for is Reek and Sage. They're a duo of, you know, one's an artist, one's a producer. They make some of the most like amazing content, and they're on the verge of dropping like another album, and all their albums have such a cool like just like it's something different. It's
Yeah.
they dropped rolling papers to go with it, which I thought was really cool. That made me even want to enjoy the album as many times as I want to, and then, you know, Chief in between. So like all of that together, that's pretty cool. If I could see a really cool marketing, like just anything that's going to catch my attention and remember it over and over, then I'm definitely going to keep, you know, looking on to it.
What are some of the main things you look for in an artist that grabs your attention? I know you said marketing is one, but what else grabs your attention about an artist or their music?
So when it comes to projects, the intro will always grab me. I don't care the rest of the album was trash. If it's the intro, that always captures my attention ever since I was little. So like once I'm in the intro, then I'm into the rest of the album.
Okay.
When it comes down to singles, I'm looking out for like what sets you different from another artist. If I don't hear any resemblance of another artist, I start moving forward to seeing what was more in your catalog. I want to try to find an artist that doesn't sound the same, but is also, you know, really, really spilling their soul into their music. And I guess within like the last couple of weeks, I've been hearing a lot of that. So I've been enjoying that very much.
How does it feel to be compared to the Say Cheese of San Antonio? Because I remember when Waves first came out, and you know, you still have your buzz. I remember when y'all really had your buzz, and everybody was like, "I got to get my stuff on Waves." Like at Waves, retweet my stuff, post my music. I made it in San Antonio. So how does it feel to be compared to a big blog platform like that?
It feels very good. I wanted to be in a different way to Say Cheese. the way I see Say Cheese sometimes can be a little bit controversial with their
Yeah.
posts. I like to stray away from that. And I know there are other blogs that we got compared to when we first started, and that really, set me off. Like to saying like, okay, you know what, like I can keep doing this. And I even had some appreciation from other blogs to say, like, hit me up and say, we got some of your writing, we like it, we really enjoy it. I had people from Lyrical Lemonade hit me up saying, you know what, like I didn't know about this artist until you mentioned it. I was like, is it cool if I write about it, mention it? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem at all. Like at the end of the day, I don't care if we get like the appreciation that we deserve. It's what the artists get out of it. If an artist is able to get picked up because something we said or something that we may have mentioned about them, then I'm all for it. Like at the end of the day, I do this just because for the love of the music.
What else are you trying to add to your blog site? I know you have 2 podcasts right now. You have merch. Are you trying to add anything else?
We are actually adding a segment right now. We did our first segment on an artist named Pros Taylor, who dropped an amazing album. And we did this thing called the deep dive or the deep end. And what it is we deep dive into that album with an interview with him. So we go ahead and break down each track off the album and then interview him at the end of it. So we can really get, a little bit of information about what his working process was, what kind of mood he was in, what his feelings were, if he had inspiration, things like that. We've been breaking it down for a few artists. We got one coming real soon with DZ Brown, who dropped a tremendous Texas album. Like it is by far one of my favorite, like out right now.
Okay. I'm gonna look him up. I never heard of him, DC Brown. Okay. You put me
Yeah,
on to some new artists right now. So I like that. I like that.
Yeah, like the perfect way to describe it, and it's called Candy Blue Like Screw. The perfect way to describe that album, which I really enjoyed about it, is that it sounds like a screw tape that was like lost.
Yeah.
Like he made it in 2020, but if you listen to it, you'll be like, wow, this is what a screw tape would sound like if it was made like today. Like it's that good.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna check him out after this interview. I really am. I like that you put me onto these new artists and stuff. I love listening to new people and putting my catalog.
Same. Oh yeah, same here. If my submissions, like in my emails, like they make my day. Every time I wake up and I have like 4 or 5 submissions, I either know I'm either getting good music or music I can let people know, what to improve on. Because they'll ask me, they'll say, you know what, if you didn't like it, what didn't you like about it? And I'll tell them, straight up, these are things I didn't like about it, and I hope to hear it improve, or I hope this criticism, isn't too harsh. But this is what you do have potential somewhere.
Okay, I like that. Now, when you and your team listen to music, do y'all often sometimes disagree on songs? Like you might like a song and they might not, or they might not like it and you love it, or vice versa?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah. Well, especially if we're around each other and a new video or project drops, we'll play it in the house, and then we'll have our own opinion on it immediately. And then once that happens, then throughout the day, it's just happy periodically where we're texting each other. I was like, hey, man, I got to finish the rest of the album. I didn't like this. And they're like, oh, well, you know what? I didn't like this part, but I did like this. So we usually try to break it down. But, yeah, we get into some funny disagreements when we don't like the music. But we get into funnier agreements when, we do like the music. So,
yeah. Are you going to try to set up some virtual performances for artists? Or you haven't thought about that yet?
We actually got asked a few times. It might be something that we want to do. We just have to all just be in the same, kind of where we don't all have plans together.
Yeah.
Right now, one's doing another thing. Me currently, I'm writing every single night. Plus, I'm also starting to manage a new artist too.
Oh.
So that the new artist I'm working with, I'm pretty excited for his debut album. I try not to sound biased, but I mean it's really incredible.
What made you want to get into management? How did you start?
So some of my mentors growing up were managing artists, and I thought, you know what, like I can easily do that once I know I can follow all of these steps. I know I have a schedule that I can maintain and still do this. Once I found that schedule, to say, spend 3 or 4 hours writing. Spend, a majority of my time, with my personal life, keep working. And then if I have, any additional time and it's enough, then I'm going to use it for an artist. So once I was able to get all that together, it was like smooth sailings from there.
Did you find the artist or the artist found you?
It was mutual. I was on Twitter one night. It was like maybe like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I saw people talking about this collective. They were called the Hippie Collective, and the track was called Optimo. And I will never forget. Like I thought it was like just some really cool soulful hip hop.
Yeah.
And I reached out to one of the artists about writing about his the EP when it dropped. Sent it to me, and then from there we started talking. We had a festival that was supposed to happen. It was called Sunset Fest. The lineup was amazing. I had every single artist like on point. We had vendors. Unfortunately, it was shut down. Two artists in. The people that were complaining were a bit racist, so they had to shut down. And but they were the first artists to perform, and even with just that performance, people were just talking about how amazing the festival was, even though it didn't really happen. But
yeah,
and he was probably the first artist I've seen in a while where in the crowd people were singing his songs.
Oh wow!
I've never seen that for a local artist very much, so I thought that was pretty crazy.
I like that on your profile for Wavez Movement that you have for the people on there, so people know that your blog site is for everyone who does music, good music, whether you're Black, white, Latino, Asian. So that's good. What do you feel like? What made you want to do that, or let people know that you're for that? Because I know some blog sites always like to just be for hip hop, some like to just be for R&B, but you're like a mixture.
Yeah, what made us really do it was just because all of us aren't like all into hip hop. We have different genres that we like to enjoy. To be quite honest, my favorite genre is jazz and blues, and then it's hip hop. But I feel like a lot of the hip hop I listened to was influenced somehow into was influenced from jazz and blues music.
Yeah.
So like when I used to listen to like oldies music, like from my grandparents, I would go around and then I would listen to a hip hop song. I'm like, wait, I know that sample. I know where that's from. Probably one of my favorite was when I was listening to Bobby Bland, and I found out Travis Scott had sampled him for Mamacita. And I thought that was the craziest thing to me. Was like he took this smooth intro of this Bobby Bland song and then was able to construct it to what this track was. And I was like, wow, I was like Metro Boomin and Travis Scott really really critiqued that to be perfected.
Yeah. I like tracks that do that too. I'm a sucker. I love going to who sample who and try to figure out where the sample came from. And
no, same.
Yeah, I like doing that. What's next for Wavez Movement? I know this COVID stopped a lot of stuff with performing, but what can we get next? More merch? Are we gonna get more merch maybe?
We actually have plans to drop a whole merch line soon. We wanted to just think outside the box with it. We're also big wrestling fans. So we wanted it to be wrestling inspired. And a few of the designs we came up with, will hit that mark. But we really just want to try to just find something that San Antonio hasn't seen, but I think would reflect outside of here as well.
Yeah.
We were supposed to travel all this year, but unfortunately, everything with Corona.
Yeah.
That stopped that. But I mean, we didn't have any point into stopping what we were doing. I knew I was gonna write, constantly more. I was gonna add another writer to the list here, and but pretty much we just want to keep kicking. If there are other segments we want to do, we definitely will, start doing that soon.
Do you feel like the OGs in San Antonio get their recognition, and how do you feel we can bridge the gap between the OGs and the young artists?
Some of them do, some of them don't. So when I first started blogging, I was super upset because my favorite artist that I was going out to see, and I would have to sneak into bars all the time just to go see them, was Worldwide and KP the Prophet. those were the two reasons why I even started writing in the first place, because I would listen to the music, and then outside of like when I would like go to school or just go anywhere, people were like, well, I don't know any of these like artists, I don't know what this is. So like in high school, like in high school, I would get picked on for the music I listened to. So like for example, I had um I had Kendrick Lamar's OD album, and that sprouted, just like majorly for me. I listen to that like therapeutically, like to this day. And people didn't know what I was listening to. Everyone at my school was either listening to like Drake or Lil Wayne. So I would be criticized all the time for listening to either Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, or Big Crit.
Yeah.
And when I first started going to shows, I saw Kendrick Lamar in Austin in a room full of only 10 people.
Oh wow.
I saw J. Cole in maybe less than that. And it was just like artists like that I would go out to see, and I would just easily start, picking up into like going into these bars that I couldn't get into, and that's how I started getting introduced more into like the local scene. When I saw KP the Prophet perform, Kid Jones was in there from Austin, Texas, and then from there I got to meet ADD, who was a duo in Dallas. They were some of my favorite artists, and they used to take me around South by Southwest just to show me around, get me into like any events I want to watch. I remember I spent the whole night with them, just going to like events, and I even got to go like to an interview to like some random exclusive hotel. It was pretty crazy.
Nice. Okay. How can we bridge the gap between the OGs and the younger cats? Because I know a lot of younger cats always say that the OGs never show them love. They're very like, oh, I can't show you the game. You should figure it out. While some are like, okay, I can show you the game.
I think by sharing just like the music, if there's something in there that may resemble to them when they were first starting, I think we're able to bridge that gap. One of my favorite OGs happens to be Question, and he's in tune to every single thing that's out.
Yeah.
And what I like about it too is that like I never know what he's like, where his mind is at when it comes to the music here in San Antonio. But once in a while, like he'll show it, and I approve of that so much. Just like Worldwide, like when I would go to these shows, Worldwide would be introducing me to this upcoming artist, things like that. So I mean, it's artists like that would like it's really OGs like that would definitely go in, and they'll find it, and then once they find it, then they'll start putting on to other OGs, saying, look, this is an artist that sounded like it sounds hungry, but he's not there yet. What can we do to either motivate him or push him to our stature? And I think that if, right now with just everything happening with Corona, they may not, have that ability, but once everything starts coming, I'm sure, they'll be picking that back up.
What are some tips you can give to artists to get noticed by you or other blog sites? Because I know a lot of artists, the first thing they want to do is tag 50 people or spam your inbox. So what are some tips of do's and don'ts?
I would definitely read. And the reason why I say that is because on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, matter of fact, on all of our social media, it clearly says to submissions by email only. And you have no idea how many messages I still wake up to with people hitting me up or tagging me something. Now I got to the point to where I'm just like, you know what, like I'm going through so much music. I don't have time to going through my messages. I don't have time to be going through my Twitter messages. If it's not by email, then I'm not listening to it. So I know most blogs do the same thing too, where they have it by submission only.
Yeah.
So I just ask for artists just to read and do the research. Another thing too is that when I receive the submissions, I don't want to receive the track just by itself. Tell me a little bit about you. Where can I find your music? Like if I have to go searching for it, it's not that good, but I mean, it's something I could write about. I may not want to because I don't want to have to keep searching for you, what music you've done in the past, and things like that.
At least label your track too, because sometimes I get submissions and it says track 1 with no title name and no artist name, and I'm like, I don't know who this belongs to. Like I played a song and someone's like, oh, this dude is dope. What's his name? I don't know. He didn't tell me.
Yeah, because I used to work for Score More Shows, so I saw those emails on what they would want them to look like, and that's how I got. That's how like my email game is like, it's up there. Like I've definitely worked on it. I made like templates for like my team to use. I'm like, look, this is the key kind of emails you want to send out. So when we actually went to shows, they would get into festivals, events, shows, take pictures, take videos, and everything just based off the email alone. Because it sounded professional, they were able just to go in there and say, look, these are what my plans are at the show. I plan to take pictures. I don't plan to have no backstage access to take photos. And that's kind of how, where I want to be like with just I want to be a blog, but I want to be professional at the end of the day.
That's good. Are there any is there any other blog sites that you see is slowly growing? Any other blog site that you look out for that you like, one day I'm gonna get to that level?
Complex.
That's a good one.
I want to be a media conglomerate. I want to have my hands in every single thing. Like I want to have it into movies. I want to have it into like fashion. I want to like make sure that I'm tackling every single thing to where I could put all of like my team inside a big old building where they don't have to work. They just have to do what their craft is, and that's how they're getting paid. So if they're a writer, that's how they're getting paid. If they're doing photos, that's how they're getting paid.
Nice. Are you looking to add anyone to your team?
I'm looking for a writer. So that's right now what I'm looking for. Since we always have something in our draft. I've never seen my draft empty. So
you heard that. So if you are a good writer, make sure you email him your information so
yes.
he can get it. Don't inbox it because it might get lost in the sauce. I'm happy my inbox did not get lost in the sauce. So make sure that you email him and he will definitely get back to you. Well, thank you, Frank Campos, for stopping by U3. Before we let you go, give us all your social media links and your email address so people can send music to you.
Yeah. So for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, it's all Wavez Movement. And then our email is thewavesmovement@gmail.com. And then if you don't remember the email, it's always on the site under contacts. And in the contacts, it gives you a list of breakdowns for media packages, interviews, etc. Even if there's not something that you see on there, just email us and we can see what we can do from there.
I like that idea. I like that. You heard it straight from his mouth, so go ahead, check him out. You will not be disappointed. It's a dope blog site with all types of music. So if you into not just hip hop, R&B, country, rock, pop, he got it for you. That's the site to check out. He got all the music for you. And if you want to learn about new artists, that's also good. And if you want to know if your music sucks or not, he's also the person to contact you. Just email it to him. He'll let you know his thoughts on that. And it's your girl, DJ Baby Blue Diamond, and we are signing out.